Hello, I'm Tom van der Wegen. I'm the technical solutions architect for core security EMEA. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about Core Insight. Now, Core Insight is a product that basically does vulnerability prioritization. So basically, it pulls in information from your vulnerability scanner, whether that's Nessus or McAfee or a 360, etc., etc. It basically will pull that information via API, and it can then run simulations on those vulnerabilities. With the simulation, it will look how a attacker can make use of those vulnerabilities to breach certain points in your environment. And basically weed out all the false positives of the vulnerability data. Not only can we run simulations, but we also can run live tests. So a simulation would not actually touch anything in your environment. It will just use algorithms, and it will use our exploit database and your topology to determine how an attacker can make use of the vulnerabilities that your scanner is telling you to breach certain points in your network. Okay, so let's have a look at Insight. So this particular screen is the CISO dashboard. So the CISO dashboard is designed to in one go see what the security posture of your environment is. And in this case, I'm especially interested in this field here. Okay, and this is the asset tree map. So let me make this a bit bigger. And in the asset tree map, in this case, I only run I'm only showing scan data. So I've used a Nessus scanner here, and with that Nessus scanner, we did some scans in the Boston office, in the New York office, in Seattle, and in Chicago. And every block here is basically a scan, and I hover over that and I get the information. So in this particular case here, I can see that in the Boston office, we run a scan on 375 assets. And of those 375 assets, we found 4,939 vulnerabilities. And that is quite a lot. New York here, even more, so 522 assets, and there it gave me 7,069 vulnerabilities. Okay, so now we can take this data and we can actually say, okay, we've got the scan data now. I want to run a simulation over that scan data, so we can schedule that, or we can tell Insight to run a simulation over exactly the same assets, and that will show us which of those vulnerabilities are actually exploitable. So in this case here, we remember we had 4,709 vulnerabilities. And now, after running a simulation, we found that only 1,800 are exploitable. So it cut it basically down by 2/3. Same here for New York. So of the 7,069 vulnerabilities, we basically found that only 2,500 exploits. 2,500 vulnerabilities are exploitable. Okay. Now, some of our customers will only do a simulation, a scan and a simulation, simply because they are maybe they need to adhere to SCADA, so they can't do live tests on their environment. They are banks, so that they don't want to take the risk of running live tests on their environment. So they will just run a simulation. But some other customers will want to take that step further, and actually on this exactly same assets run an automated live test as well. So basically run a pen test. And for that pen test, we basically use Impact's technology. So Core Impact is a world-renowned pen testing tool. It was the first commercial pen testing tool in the world, and that's exactly the engine we use in Core Insight to do our live tests. So here you can see that same scan we run, where we found 4,939 vulnerabilities. We actually didn't find any exploits. So that means that the the systems in place, the protection systems like antivirus, like IPS, IDS, like firewalls, were sufficient enough to block all these all the live tests, all the exploits we fired at them. In this case here, of the 7,000 vulnerabilities and a bit, we actually found 61 breaches here. So 61 machines were actually we were actually able to breach. So when going there live, doing the exploit live, we were able to install an agent. So an agent is basically the exploit, which means we've got control of that machine. So that means it's breached. Of those 61 machines, there was 47 breach points or penetration points, and this basically means this can be used by an attacker to go from one machine to another machine. Now I can drill into this data. I can click on these blocks, and that will basically take me to a campaign screen here. And the campaign screen will basically show me a bit more detail of the details of the campaign. So it will tell me all the machines that are involved here. So I could say, for example, I want to know a bit more about this particular machine here. It will tell me the detail of that machine, what servers is running, what ports are open, for example. It will tell me what vulnerabilities we found on that machine. There we go. I can make that a bit bigger. It tells me which exploits or which vulnerabilities were exploitable and which ones not. It also can show me exploits and if it's part of the attack path as well. Then I also can have a look at the network diagram. And in the network diagram, it shows me how an attacker could make use of those vulnerabilities, those exploitable vulnerabilities, to go to breach this sensitive machine. This could be a machine with your customer's credit card information, for example. So we can see the attack paths that he could use. And we can also drill into those attack paths. So, for example, say, show me some extra detail. Then it will show me all the exploits or the exploitable vulnerabilities involved in that specific on that specific machine. I can drill into that as well. So I could click on the exploit name, the CVE number, and that will take me to the NVD website, and that basically tells me exactly all the information of that particular exploitable vulnerability. What I could also do, I could, for example, say, show me a report or run a report from this from the selected elements, or maybe I only want to select show me attack path between selected nodes, because obviously the network, this is a simple network, it can be much bigger, and it's nice to just single out some attack paths there. We can also filter by path score. So I could, for example, say only show me the top 5 paths, and it will basically look at the type of machine and the criticality of those machines. It will look at the CVSS score, where the system is in the path, and based on that it tells you, okay, this is the highest scoring attack path, this is second, and this is third, and so forth. Then let's also have a quick look at the reports. So for reports, there is a bunch of out-of-the-box reports available already. But all these reports are customizable. So I can say, I want to use the vulnerability detailed report as my template. I'm going to select a report here. Let's take a simulation. Let's take that one. And let's run that as an Excel file. In the report, we have a quick summary where it says the targets. Then it will have some vulnerability summary data where it tells you a bit more about the specific vulnerabilities, about the scorings, some asset information. So the assets, the machines that were in the scan, the number of vulnerabilities, the operating systems, and the ports. And then in the third field, we have a very comprehensive or lots of information. There is operating system information, remediation URLs here, whether that exploit was exploitable, yes or no. And these you can customize. These you can delete rows that you don't or columns that you don't want. I can even add a complete new sheet and insert certain tables here, where you can create your own reports. You can then download this or save this report and basically upload it as a template, and then use that as your future report, and that's you can now run that as a PDF. That's all for this for this video. I hope you that was useful, and thanks for watching.